This is Chris Bumstead, and he's a genetic freak. Chris Bumstead is a Gymshark athlete, and he's been on the fitness scene for a long time. He was actually a bit of a bombshell though when he dropped. How old would you guess he is? 35? Maybe even close to 40? No, he is 26 years old, and he's been looking in this fantastic shape for years. Chris Bumstead is one of the biggest genetic freaks on the planet when it comes to muscle building, and here's why. So growing up, Chris was already plastered with muscle. He was definitely one of the biggest guys in his class, biggest guys in his school, and biggest guys in the entire area. We've all grown up knowing that one person who had significantly more muscle in the surrounding area and was a bit of an urban legend. Well, that was Chris Bumstead, no doubt about it. Now, there are no pictures of him as a baby or an infant, but I imagine he was ridiculously jacked even from that age. The earliest kind of time period that we've seen that Chris has posted is when he was 18 years old, and he was already ripped, lean, and massive, significantly bigger than any of his classmates, and also lean. You get a lot of people that are big, but they are holding a lot of what we call puppy fat or baby weight, where they just haven't matured and developed that leanness. But Chris, from an early age, was lean and big. He immediately found an aptitude for bodybuilding and was wanting to jump on stage from an early age. Looking at his first competitions, you can see how good he looked and the potential that was there. One of the first times I personally saw Chris was on one of the muscle and strength documentaries where he was doing a deadlift day. He was moving ridiculous amounts of weight, proving that he's not just genetically gifted in the physique, but also in strength. This is a lethal combination when it comes to building muscle, because you can overload the weight significantly and actually build on your genetic base to improve, and that's what he's done. It was around 21 years old that we started seeing how ridiculously talented Chris Bumstead was. He was in show-ready shape almost year-round. He never really has an off-season where he gets fat. He just looks ridiculous all the time. You need to show me how to do it because I'm really struggling. A lot of people would kill to have a physique like this all year round, regardless of how old you were, but he was just 21. And you could see the maturity in his muscle already there at this young age. That can take decades to produce maturity and muscle density like that. In deadlift, Chris was repping 600 pounds or 6 plates, close to that, 4 reps. And deadlift in particular tends to be an area of weakness for bodybuilders just because their leverages don't really suit it. However, these are Chris Bumstead's stats. He's quite tall, 6'1". So he's definitely no short bodybuilder, and that tends to be the majority. When you step on the Olympia stage, you can see Chris Bumstead being one of the tallest, which is unusual because the longer your levers and your height, the harder it is to fill out your frame. What really sets Chris Bumstead apart though is his back. You can just see how thick his lat insertions are, and they come right down, giving him a really complete physique. And this is one of the areas he's worked on very hard in the years he's been on the Olympia stage, because you can see from the first time he stepped on that Olympia stage to the more recent time, his back is one of those areas that really does look a night and day difference. Now, it's really hard to argue that Chris isn't one of the best out there because he has won the Mr. Olympia title in classic physique multiple times. Classic is one of my favourite categories because it's just one of those where the guys are still ridiculously big and large, but they're at a point where they're working on the lines and the symmetry, what would almost be considered a functional physique. Even though if you do see these guys in person, they're weighing 240 pounds, which is like 110 kilograms, and that is massive. There are also comparisons with the likes of David Lade, and he just absolutely dwarfs him. And then on the other end of the spectrum, there is him after one of his Olympia wins, next to Big Ramy, one of the biggest bodybuilders of all time, well over 300 pounds. And you know what? He doesn't actually look small next to him. And that's crazy because when you compare Big Ramy to other guys on the Olympia stage, the best of the best, Big Ramy is clearly much bigger than them. Chris Bumstead's strengths are his back, his shoulders, his chest, and even his legs are insanely strong. One area that probably is weaker for him are his bicep insertions, which compared to some of the other classic physique guys wouldn't be considered absolutely perfect. But even then, his arms are still massive. It's just literally the peaks. He kind of has quite a flat bicep insertion rather than those mountainous peaks that you'd see on the likes of Arnold Schwarzenegger and even classic physique competitors like Breon Ainsley. Is this something that Chris can change? Not really. That's part of his genetic makeup. As I said, his arms are still big, so he still has a lot of muscle there, and that peak is probably something that's never going to come. But his physique makes up for it in so many other areas, and he is one of those top level guys that people will continue and aspire to be like. That is why I am labelling Chris Bumstead the genetic freak of this era. Hopefully you've enjoyed. Leave a like on the video and let me know if you think there is someone that's more of a genetic freak than Chris Bumstead, and I will see you in the next video. I'll see you later.